Today on the channel, we're looking at one of the hottest G.I. Joe classified figures of the year, number 81, Cobra Eel, on Way I Got It Figured.
The way I got it figured.
What's up, figure fans? Way I Got It Figured, back with another G.I. Joe classified review. This time we're looking at the Amazon exclusive Cobra Eel. I got this figure in trade. For whatever reason, I kept missing the pre-orders, this, that, or the other thing. Didn't want to be paying a bunch of money for one on the aftermarket. So I traded a spare Duke that I had lying around with G.I. Joe classified community member on Facebook, Jesse James. I want to throw a big shout out to that guy for helping me out with that. And we're going to get into the review. All right, so we got our eel here, open, ready, waiting to be reviewed. We'll do as we always do. Take a look at the box, take a look at the accessories, take a look at the figure, get them geared up, and pose them around a little bit, and then get you out of here with some final thoughts. So starting with the box, you've got the eel and his toy photography picture here, which seems to be sort of like a sub on the other side of the torpedo sub, with the tube worms from the G.I. Joe miniseries with the mass device. Of course, the eel wasn't even out or invented yet, but you know, a little bit more on that later. As you can see, his accessories, he comes with the sort of customary eel stuff. And on the side, we've got number 81 and the QR code, which we'll leave up here for you to QR scan, which one day I suppose will work. Then we've got another side portrait of the eel in color, number 81. On the back, we've got the tail of the tape. Comes in at 6'2", 6.2 inches. And you can see some detail on the backpack and the gauges on his arms, reminiscent of the 1985 figure. And then we have his file card attributes. So he's got a 2 environmental specialist, a 1 aero weapons, a 1 demolitions, and a 2 underwater combat. So, you know, they're not super duper, they're not like torpedo level good, but they're, you know, they're pretty good underwater. So there's your look at the box. Now we'll take a look at the eel's accessories. So we'll start off with the spear gun, which is a straight repro of the torpedo spear gun. Yes, it is warped, it's bent. They all come like that. The main thing is you got a red painted tassel here and a gold tipped spear as opposed to torpedo's silver tipped spear. But it's, other than that, an identical weapon. And we've got a small combat knife, which also looks identical to the one that torpedo comes with. Then we've got the flippers which are also identical to the ones Torpedo comes with, except his has paint apps, and these are just the straight black plastic. Then we've got the diving pack, and it's got little bubble jet things to make them, to propel them through the water, so to speak. And now they've got the eel logo. Can't remember if they got this from the moray eel, the hydrofoil. Obviously the backpack was different back in good old 1985, but it is a nice touch either way. And then of course we've got the eel diving helmet, which will give him the iconic look of the original figure. And some people were getting copies where the visor was sort of like fogged up, but this one seems fine. I received this figure in the mailer and everything, so you know it was never opened from Amazon.com. So even though I did a trade, it was sort of, you know, blind. A lot of people got, you know, really bad QC issues on their eels, but I seem to have dodged that bullet. Now, taking a look at the eel. Just as most of, or at least, well, 4 pieces of his 6 accessories are reuse, not counting the knife sheath. So yeah, I guess he comes with 7 accessories. 4 of them are reused pieces. From Torpedo. He is definitely mostly reuse of the Torpedo figure with some additions. A couple of changes there. His legs are the same. The torso is the same, but not the belt. He's got kind of a different belt on. Of course, he's got the shoulder harness and shoulder pads and different gloves. But, you know, the legs and the torso are definitely the same as Torpedo. Of course, he's got a Cobra kind of diving mask on. And, you know, he looks good, man. It's nothing, you know, I can't say anything bad about him. It's an eel. I don't army build anymore, so I really just wanted to have one, just to have it in the collection to check that box. And it looks really nice. So on to his articulation. Despite the shoulder pads, you can mostly get him into a T-pose. I mean, I can force it. It'll go up a little bit more. That's about as far as it'll go. A generous ab crunch. You heard it click for the first time. Backwards. Obviously, waist swivel. I.Joe Classified Series drop down. Legs. Thighs. Knee. Ankle. Wrists, of course. Even though the wrist articulation is always suspect, but it is there. It does have bicep swivel, but it is somewhat compromised by the pad on his arm. And of course he does have butterfly joints because he's a G.I. Joe Classified figure. Your mileage may vary on how good they are. And he does have a double neck, chicken neck. You can see. So yeah, pretty cool. Now let's get them geared up and take a look. Here's our eel Cobra Frogman geared up. And I must say he does look pretty cool. The only issue gearing him up is the backpack. Definitely kind of wants to come out. You can kind of see the separation there. You know, I don't really want to mess with it too much. So the backpack is a little touchy to get in there, but it you know, it goes in. And he does look, you know, pretty cool. Everybody was so happy when the eels came out. You know, they sold out immediately, pretty fast. You know, Amazon didn't limit them, so people were buying 10 and 12 eels and then showing the boxes on the Facebook groups like, hey, I got 10 eels, you know, that I'm never going to open. Just like, okay, dude, whatever. I'm glad to have the one that I got because I don't really army build anymore. Don't see the point in army building 6-inch figures. They take up so much space as it is. I really look at them as hero versions. And so, you know, one, maybe two. At some point, the eel's going to get a retro card release. We already know this. So I'll probably check that out when the time comes and have two. But really no more than that. So we can sort of get some actual comparisons here. I brought in Torpedo, the eel's natural enemy, and they both have black and red highlights. But one of the things that I consider doing is I think Torpedo might look a little bit better with straight black flippers, with the eel with the colored flippers. So I may switch out the flippers. The funny thing is the knives are not only are they identical, they're like exactly identical, because Torpedo even has the red hilt for his knife, which might be a water thing. You know, you make it red so that it can be seen in case you drop it or something underwater. So it does make somewhat sense. But they look good together, you know, and have, I'm sure Torpedo's worth at least two eels at a time. One Torpedo's worth 2 eels. The main thing I remember about the eels, one, there were a couple of them in the episode with the apple seed episode where the biological creature had swallowed them up, and they did let you think for a minute that they were dead, but they survived. And even more prominently in I.Joe, Real American Hero from Marvel Comics, the eels were used a few times. But they mostly got killed by Storm Shadow or Snake Eyes in the comic. I never recall them actually succeeding at anything. They just died a lot. But, you know, regardless, it's a cool looking figure, and you know, he does help fill out the Cobra Legions. All right, so what's gonna do it for this one? I'm gonna go on to final thoughts. Final thoughts on the G.I. Joe Classified Series number 81, Cobra Eel. Very happy with this figure. Mine doesn't have any real QC issues. I got lucky once again on that regard. And, you know, it's a solid representation of a 1985 figure. in 2023 at 6 inches. So, you know, it's a must if you're gonna sort of complete a real American Hero-ish collection. You know, he flew off the shelves. What else can you say about him? He is worth the hype. And I'm gonna go ahead and give him a 9. I'm not gonna give him a 10 because he does have a fair amount of reuse. But as a you know, as an army builder, for those who are into that, obviously you're gonna want to army build this guy. I just don't do it anymore. And you know, different strokes for different folks. So that's gonna do it for this one, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I've got much more coming along the lines of G.I. Joe Classified series. A lot of shout outs to do. I was able to make some moves to get some figures that I wasn't able to obtain via this or that, as you will see in the upcoming days. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, liking the video, and leaving a comment. How do you feel about the eels? Did you get 1? Did you get 10? Did you get 50? What did you do? Let me know down in the comments. For now, I am going to sign off. Everybody stay safe. See you on the next video. Peace.
The way I got it figured.